I'd like to welcome to the show the one, the only Mark Osegueda of Death Angel. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, no
Yeah.
problem, man. Big 35-year anniversary for Act 3, man. Congratulations, because that was probably the album that got me hooked on you guys.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's crazy to think it's been 35 years.
Right.
So yeah, revisiting it has been it's been wonderful. And getting it down and learning it for this upcoming tour has been a lot of work for, especially, the guys. I just got to pretty much relearn the lyrics and the melodies, but getting Will and Damien and Ted up to speed is they've been working really, really hard to get it, nice and tight and how it should sound, and it's been sounding great. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, and you guys are kicking off this tour here coming up, what, November 24th?
Yep,
And
yep.
you guys are kicking it off with a benefit show. From
Yeah,
what I
benefit
hear,
show.
Headbang for Science.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So Jose Mangan from Liquid Metal, his it's his he's throwing it and he's sponsoring the event, and it's for his charity, Headbang for Science. And so it's basically going to be almost like a glorified dress rehearsal
Okay,
that
cool.
people who donate to the cause could come in and watch us, do a full blown dress rehearsal with stage and lights. And
Right.
um, it's at the Affliction headquarters in Seal Beach, and it's a $70 donation to get in. But that it comes with a open bar if you're over 21, taco plate, and get to see us do Act Three in its entirety for the first time in 35 years, and then some extra Death Angel songs after that. So
Right.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna you know that it's a precursor to the actual shows on the tour. So
Right.
it's gonna be a blast. We look forward to it for sure.
Now, what is Headbanger for Science all about?
It's Jose's foundation, and what they do is it's almost like it gives scholarships to metalheads or people that are into metal in the community that are pursuing a career in the medical field,
Oh,
or
very cool.
or education to pursue a career in the medical field. And that's what he helps those who maybe you know can't afford that type of education or whatnot,
Right.
be able to. He supplements it, and I think that's awesome.
Right. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're absolutely incredible vocalist. And
Uh,
I mean, you're doing the Kerry King stuff too.
yeah, yeah. Well, first off, thank you. And yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been doing this for a long time, and working hard at it for a long time. But yeah, I've been for the last couple of years. I started to sing in front Kerry King's solo band, and that's also been an amazing experience. And
Right.
I've been having a blast doing that. But it's definitely keeping me busy, juggling both bands. But I'd rather it be no other way. And I love Kerry. I love all the guys in the band, and the shows have been wonderful. Yeah.
Right. So you guys released Humanized. Was it Humanized? It got
Which
nominated for a Grammy.
Oh,
Grammy.
Humanicide. Yes,
Yeah.
Humanicide 2019. Absolutely. Our first ever Grammy nomination, and it came as a complete surprise.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't I didn't necessarily know if we had a shot at winning, but just the fact that we were nominated feels victorious in a huge way.
Right.
Something that never saw coming. You don't, write thrash metal growing up thinking that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Um, but we ended up losing to Tool, which they're debatable. They're a metal band, but they're definitely an influential, hugely successful band, and that
Right.
plays, rock, to say the least, heavy music. So but either way, I didn't think we stood a chance when I saw that they were on the ballot as well. But it doesn't matter. As I said, just being nominated was a major achievement for
Right.
all of us. Yeah.
So, I mean, what is it so special about the Bay Area thrash scene out there in California? Because and the reason I ask is because so many great bands have come out of that Bay Area thrash. And I grew up in California back in the
Yeah.
80s. I was out there.
Gotcha.
In fact, I grew up in Southern California, Downey.
Okay.
big
Yep.
time.
Yep. Yep.
And what is it? There's just that Bay Area thrash thing, man. It's everybody comes out of there, and it's all great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were fortunate enough to be a part of it, and it's just an amazing area to live and grow up, especially back then.
Right,
Especially back then, you know, it's changed dramatically from what it was as far as the people that occupy it. I mean, back then it was more of a blue collar city,
right,
or this area was mostly a blue collar area with a lot of artists and
right,
whatnot from people that carried over from the '60s and they were having children and a lot of longshoremen and people like that were out here that had kids, and these kids like us, us kids basically gravitated to rock and stuff like that.
right,
It seemed like just kind of that next generation of heavy music you know and tangible.
right,
That we could pick up instruments and become that, and we it formed our own little scene out here, and it ended up becoming extremely healthy. In a weird way because everyone started forming bands, but everyone was very supportive of each other. Yeah, there
right,
was friendly competition, which made everyone, better players.
right,
And even though it was, everyone was a thrash band, everyone had their own unique sound. No one
right,
sounded like each other. But there was, if Metallica was in town, they'd be at your shows.
right,
If Exodus was in town, they'd be at your shows. Metallica moved up here from Southern California because
right,
at the time Southern California didn't get them, but the Bay Area kind of blue collar scene completely latched onto them. You
right,
know, um, when Slayer first came up here from Southern California and played, we went ravenous for them. Just it was crazy.
right,
And it's something that everyone in this globally that were into this underground movement at the time called thrash came here and were blown away and welcomed, when
right,
if they played the same type of music. And it still carries on to this day. If all the other bands are in town, we all go to each other's shows, and now there's a whole, you know, I guess newer crop of younger bands coming up too, and they're putting on their own shows here or at smaller clubs and bars that are having these metal shows, and they're packing them out, and it's been great. As I
right,
said, it's always been a very communal and supportive scene out here. That you know, I guess that's what it was, friendly competition that bred wonderful bands that had their own unique sound.
right.
Yeah,
And that's one thing, like doing what I do, because I deal with bands all over the world that send me
yeah,
stuff in. I'm starting to notice that a lot of bands are going back to the old school style thrash. I
yeah,
mean, I've
yeah.
got a couple great bands, and I play them, and I'm like, wow, this is like old school Bay Area thrash, man. It's awesome to
It
see the
really
bands
is.
going back.
Yeah, and I can see why, because it's still just brimming with, I guess, rebellion for
Right,
one, and it's also the musicality is great. You
right,
know what I mean? Because it's derived from new wave of British heavy metal, basically. So
right,
I could see why these kids wanted to play this music because it is. It's still you're still sticking your finger up to the man, but also proving yet you could play your instrument well. So it's kind of to me the best of all worlds coming together in a rebellious music.
right. And it's not
Yeah.
hair metal.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
So let's I don't know. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you see the music scene, you know, with you and Death Angel being one of the ones that paved the way? How have you seen the music scene change from back then till now? I mean, have you seen it change for the better or for the worse?
Well, it ebbs and flows because, in all honesty, when Death Angel started to when we kind of went up through Act Three, it was peaking. It was
Right,
peaking up in 1990. That's 35 years ago. And then, we broke up in 90, but
right,
we still paid attention to what was happening in metal individually, and you could just basically see the scene basically died
right,
throughout the 90s. But, metal, thrash metal, or metal in general, at least in the States, thrash metal especially was just almost, you could see if the bands didn't break up, they were trying to go down different paths that didn't really stick to their roots. Everyone
Right.
was just kind of fishing for what they were doing. Everyone, and then it hit about it literally almost through all of the '90s. That was the case.
Right.
That was the case, and then around um, and that was for thrash metal because if I'm being perfectly honest, during that time in the '90s is when death metal got really big,
Right.
which is awesome. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's just, but for my particular genre that I played in, it nosedived. And then I think what kind of really brought it back, in all honesty, if I could pinpoint a time, it was, to me, once again the Bay Area coming together, and it was in 2001 when Chuck Billy got diagnosed with cancer,
Right.
and there was a big benefit show here in San Francisco called Thrash of the Titans, and all of these metal bands, thrash bands from that time, got together to raise money for Chuck and cancer research for a great cause, and we were one of them. People flew out from all over the world to see this
Right.
show, and bands that hadn't played in years, us included, got together for this one-off show, and it's literally like a bomb went off again throughout the world, and the ripple effect kind of brought thrash back alive, if you ask me, because
Right.
all of a sudden we were getting offers to go to Europe, and we started touring Europe. We toured Europe for maybe 3 years on just our original three records, and then we started getting offers to record new material, which was a whole other bag of beans. But we stuck with it and we've had a career ever since. So it's just, as I said, the scene shrunk, almost died, and then has now grown to a point where it just keeps growing. And as you said too, younger bands are coming up, and it's just making for a more well-rounded thrash scene. And now that you have these huge festivals that mix different types of or subgenres of metal, it's bringing a whole different crowd of people who would never see this type of music, enabling them to see it and judging for themselves if they're affected by it. But
Right.
I like to think that you can't help but, if you're into metal and heavy music, that there's really no way that you can't be intrigued or affected by the energy and the output of thrash metal in general.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Your vocal style is pretty. You have a pretty significant range. I mean, how do you go about balancing powerful screams and the melodic mid-range grit and all that stuff?
Years of training for sure, years of training. And because I've taken vocal lessons from different types of teachers and different types of techniques over the years, and kind of picked and picked, I guess, cherry picked what I thought was what worked for me best from all those instructors, and then threw in some things that worked for me from touring so much over the years. And that just kind of helped me develop my style, along with just sticking to it, because in the '80s, to tell you the truth, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
And you could see over the years that I've honed my craft, but I'm still learning, and I just do what I do, to always try to improve and make my, I guess, bring as much variation to my voice and thrash metal as I possibly can, while trying to take care of it, because it's it's a very delicate muscle, the
Right.
voice. Yeah. So, but I live for it. Yeah.
Very cool. So, is it you just released two new singles here as of late?
Yeah.
Is there a new full length album coming or?
Well, yeah, there is a new full length album coming. It's nowhere near being complete, but we are writing it right now. That's but we wanted to keep people's ears open, and people's attention while we're writing, because it has been, we had our last full length was 2019, and so we're definitely actively writing. But so we released Wrath Bring Fire a few months ago, and
Right.
now most recently Cult of the Used,
Right.
and it's just to keep the buzz out that we are currently still out there as a band,
Right.
playing live, but we are definitely writing the next full length. And as far as we're writing and demoing stuff, but no solid date of when we're entering the studio. But I could see it happening, at some time tail end this year or something of that
Okay,
nature.
cool.
Yeah,
Very cool. So
yeah,
I guess the big talk, the big thing is the Act 3 anniversary tour, man. I mean,
yeah,
what all was in, I mean, you guys are going to do the entire album
yep. We're
from
gonna do
start to
it.
finish.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And some of
All
these
some
songs
extra stuff.
yeah, because some of these songs have not been played live in 35 years.
Right.
And as I said, the guys have been really woodshedding all the other guys in the studio. I kind of, waited for them to really get it tight and locked in. And so I kind of breezed in the last couple weeks to, join them at rehearsals, like some singers do. No,
Right.
no, but it's just, it's sounding great. And if you're a fan of Act Three, then, it sounds
Right.
better than ever, if you ask me. And it's just the band's playing so tight and we're delivering it properly, a little more souped up. And this tour is going to be fantastic. So it's Death Angel, Violence, Lions at the Gate, and Misfire,
Right.
and it's a well-rounded bill. It's going to be just I think, you know, every night that it's happening in every city, it's going to be a special event for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to be hitting here in Pittsburgh coming up on December 3rd, which is
Yep.
where I'm at. So that's pretty awesome. So
Love
hopefully I'll catch you
Pittsburgh.
at the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Pittsburgh's always been a great metal town for us since the
oh,
80s,
yeah.
and now it's tough as nails, always has been. And we're in your face thrash band, so we've always had a great relationship with that city and a great respect for it.
Right. So let me ask you one more question, Mark, and I'll let you go. What
Yeah, yeah.
advice do you have for any upcoming singer or upcoming band that you could give to them?
I'd say what the best advice I can give is just believe in yourself and have resilience, because as long as you believe in yourself and you keep your own backbone, because no matter what you do, and once you find your own voice, there's always going to be people that try to knock you down or tell you
Right.
it's not good, or it's not, that it's lame and whatnot. And you can't listen to them, especially now more than ever because of social media and whatnot. Everybody's a critic, and everyone has this huge, larger than life soapbox to judge other people. And don't pay attention to what people are saying. And if you see negative comments, use that for fuel to get better at what you do. And as
Right.
long as you stick with it, you know you just keep improving. And as long as you find your own voice, style, technique, you can be proud giving it your all, knowing that you did it your way. I think that's probably the best advice I can give, other than have a good attorney. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
All right, Mark. Hey, thanks for taking the time out and coming on the show. I greatly
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
it. And we'll see you here in Pittsburgh.
Thanks for helping us spread the word, and can't wait to be out there.
All right, man.
Yeah.